Thanks everybody for joining today's Stay Connected webinar. We are very excited to all learn together about the new Luminator program that is starting in Omaha at the Luminarium through the Luminarium. And we've got a team here to talk to us about their work in the program. So I'm going to let Braxton go ahead and get us going, introduce himself and his team. And thank you so much for being here.
No problem. Thank you, Kim. It's funny, before you guys got on, we were just talking about virtual learning and how it's kind of evolved during COVID and how useful it is to the community as far as being able to involve people in all different areas. So very thankful to be here today and to have this opportunity. So my name is Braxton Crowder. I am an experience manager here at the Cuba Luminarium. I have two of our staff members who work here, and their official titles are Luminators. So Luminators kind of staff our floor, and I'll let them kind of talk more about their jobs and how they kind of came to Luminarium as we go. So once again, my name is Braxton. I'll let them introduce themselves and we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah, I can start first. My name is Raven Boyland. I'm starting my senior year at the University of Nebraska, Omaha, studying statistics. And I heard about the Luminarium through one of my advisors through the Black Student Union. His name is Dr. Derek Nero. And he told me about the new facility and how it's opening up and everything like that. And he just recommended that I would get involved with it. And through working at the Luminarium and being able to be a founding Luminator, I've learned a lot about myself and a lot about different people that live in the Omaha area or even the Nebraska area. I think working at the Luminarium has really shown me that all different types of people can engage in science and technology and engineering and math, and that not everybody has access to the same learning in school. So it's a really good community for people to be able to learn about those things.
I'm Abby Hyman. I'm a part of cohort 1 of the Luminator program. So I came in a little bit after Raven, but I started in March with training. I am a junior at UNO, and I'm a math education major. And working at the Luminarium has been great because I get to work with all different kinds of people and learn different teaching styles, learning styles, and I get to work with all ages. I've even been able to help with some field trips that we've started, and that has been so much fun facilitating that. But really, with Raven has said, it's been really great to see all the different kinds of people that come into the Luminarium and different communities. So I've really enjoyed it so far.
Great. Thank you, Abby and Raven. As you can see, they are very dedicated to the Luminator program. Right now, one of them just got out of class and one is going to class right after this. So for them to take some time out of their day, busy schedules, to be here today, very thankful for that. And so basically, the way that I'm going to kind of gear this today is going to just kind of talk about a little bit about how the Luminarium kind of came to fruition. Then I'll talk about the Luminator program and also kind of talk about at the end, have rooms for questions, and then we'll do a little activity as well. And so that's kind of how today will go in the 30 minutes that we have. And so basically, I'll just talk a little bit about the Luminarium and how it kind of came to part. And so the Luminarium is a science museum that is based on the riverfront. And so the idea behind it was really trying to create something that is for everybody. So just like Raven said, a place that people from all ages, backgrounds, and demographics could come to and kind of learn a little bit about discovery. And so a part of our mission is being a place of discovery. So if you guys haven't been here before, when you kind of come in, we have a map, but it's a very basic map because the idea is for you to kind of come in and just kind of get acquainted with the space and kind of go wherever your heart desires. And so that's really kind of the aura that we try to create when we bring guests into our space. And so when you think of the Luminator program, we knew when the Luminarium was being built that we were going to have people staff the Luminarium. And so we had to think to ourselves, what do we want that to look like? Do we want that to be adults? Do we want that to be children? How do we want to kind of create that? And so the idea was to create a founding Luminator program. And the founding Luminators would be a group of individuals from ages 18 to 25. And we only had room for, I think, 7 or 8, and we hired about 6. And those Luminators helped us create kind of the idea that we want to formulate in the actual museum before the museum was ever created. And so what we had those Luminators do was we had them go out into the community and do what we call pop-ups. So they went to events like Native Omaha Day, Afro Fest, Latino of American events, Cinco de Mayo, and we had them go into these different places that we wanted to attract those type of people to our space. And so there was a lot of intentionality behind the Founding Luminator program and why we created that. And so that's just a little bit about the difference between a Founding Luminator. And so then any Luminator after that, we just named them Luminators because they were a part of our next cohort. So Abby came in our actual first cohort that we had at the actual Luminarium. And so both positions are really nice because you have one who came in the beginning before we even opened up, and then you have one who was there from the beginning as far as like when we opened up, all the trainings that was needed to kind of help formulate this goal that we had. And so the really big goal that we had was, how do we create a space that is inviting for Illuminators? Because then we added on another task to hire high schoolers as well. So we have two Illuminator programs. We have a high school Illuminator program and a young adult Illuminator program. And so our high schoolers are aged 15 to 18, and then our young adults is 18 to 25. And so we all know what comes with, you know, hiring high schoolers and the different tasks that come with that. And so it took a lot of learning from some of our other staff members who have never taught high schoolers. And also myself being in the after school program and being around middle schoolers and high schoolers, I had a little bit of kind of background knowledge with it, but this was a different ball game because now we're actually employing them, and these people are we're paying them. So it's a different level of responsibilities that we had to make sure that those Luminaries were getting the best out of the program and preparing them for what they have for the future. And so that's just a little bit about our Luminators. Is there any questions before I kind of get started? A little bit more about, you know, where we're at right now and where we plan to go. Cool. So we'll kind of keep going. And so at the Luminarium, we have our Luminators staff pretty much everything you can think of. And so the Luminators play a very essential piece to our organization because they're inside of the store. So we have a store. They're at the landing, so they help with people coming in. They check our guests in. They're on the floor. So any of our exhibits that we have, they're helping explain them and walking guests through the experience. We have a maker space where people come in and are able to design different activities. The Luminators help staff that as well. So essentially, I would say 80% of our functionality is based around the Luminators. So as you can see, that is a very important piece of our organization. And without them, we wouldn't be able to thrive in the way that we do now. So a lot of times when people come to our space, a lot of the kudos is given to the Luminators because those are the ones who really help formulate what we're trying to create as an organization. And so kind of going from there, I'll kind of just talk about where we're at right now, the hiring process. Then I'll talk about our future. And then also I'll talk about, I just talked about our past. Now I'll kind of talk about our present, and then I'll kind of talk about our future. So right now I'll kind of just talk about how we hire Luminators. So as you can see, one of our big intentions is to make sure that the Luminator program is very diverse. So that's hiring from diverse neighborhoods as far as like race, demographics, genders, and all those different things to make sure that we are really, you know, catering to our guests that come in as well. So when you come into the space, we have 2 different languages on every single exhibit. We have over 140 different exhibits. So they have English and Spanish, knowing that that is our second largest language that is spoke in America. And so having that really helps out for that population of people to be able to understand what we're talking about. We also have members are part of our Luminator program that really support Pride. So then when people come in from that organization, that there's someone there that can help, you know, connect with them. We have people from the African American history groups. We have people from teacher institutes. We have people from Latino of America Center. So we really wanted to make sure that we had a collective group of people that could be very tailored to our group of community that are coming in. We work with Action Partner of Autism as well, so that when we have people who may be on the spectrum, we are also equipped with the trainings to know how to make sure that their experience is just as, you know, fluent as anyone else who is coming into our space. So a lot of intentionality behind that. And I've worked in a lot of different spaces that are guest service facing. And I would say this has probably been one of the most intentional places around making sure that we tailor to all different types of people and walks of life. And so that's been a very big piece of our organization. And so Raven and Abby, do you guys have anything to add to that as I'm kind of talking about that? If not, I can kind of keep going.
Yeah, I think you touched on everything. I would just say that throughout like all of the exhibits, we always get to switch, and I think that's a really good experience to be able to experience different parts of the Luminarium. So we get to be at the front desk checking in guests and doing like customer service kind of there, or we get to be like doing demonstrations to teach something more educational to guests, or just like interact with guests and go through the experience with them as well.
Yeah, and so I'll kind of keep going where we're at now. And so we just finished up our second hiring cohort. So we have a new group of luminaries that we're training right now. And so the way that hiring process worked was we worked with our partnerships team because we get a lot of referrals from different partnerships that we have. So we have some from Partnership of Autism. We also this time got there's an organization called Junior Wheelchair Association. So we're able to get someone in who is wheelchair bound. And that was really nice to be able to figure out how we create a space that would allow that individual to be able to move around fluently, and also show the community that we're willing and we're really trying to make sure that we hire people of all different walks of life so that everyone feels comfortable and that there's not just a certain type of demographic that we're catering to. So that was really nice. And that individual that we hired from the Junior Wheelchair Association, during the interview process, that individual was the first person to interview. They were the first person to type in, send in an application, and they're fluent in French. And so they have a lot of different, attributes that came to the table that was very appealing, beyond, the other things the challenges that they may have. And so that was a very big win, not only for them, but for our organization. And that individual kept thanking me, and I was thanking them. Like, no, I'm glad that you're here. Don't thank me. Like, we're happy to have you here. So moments like that, to be able to be a part of that, is something that we don't take lightly, and we always try to push the narrative on. And so that's kind of our hiring process. And so we usually do about 2 weeks of hiring, and then we get all those people on board. And then we have 3 days of training that's all day, that kind of talks about being on the floor, why we were funded, why we were started, and just kind of a holistic approach of what the Luminarium is about. And so the hiring process is usually my favorite, and it's my favorite and least favorite, because we get to meet so many new people, but we can't bring everybody. And so that's the hard part about it, is that we interview so many great people, so many intelligent people from universities, people who are in trades, people who are just very excited to be in the space. And to know that we only have a small window of people that we can hire, that's probably the hardest part of that part. And so that's kind of where we're at now. And then also we are continuing to do pop-ups. So we do continue to go to events that happen around Omaha. So if you guys ever have an event that you will want like a Luminator to go to, always reach out to us through our partnerships team, because just like Get Connected, I don't think we're going to be there this year, but hopefully in the future we could have like an area where we do set up a pop-up where we could bring some of the exhibits that we do here at the Luminarium and actually bring those things to different organizations. They can kind of see just a little bit of what we're doing here at the Luminarium. So that's kind of nice to be able to have that. And that's kind of where we're at right now as an organization. For the future, with me coming from after school programs, I'm hoping that we can start getting to after school programs. We went to a couple in the past with our founding Luminators. We went to the Boys and Girls Club and Girls Inc. And so we went into those programs and did some activities that kind of catered to some of the things that we're doing at the Luminarium. So that was really fun. And hopefully that becomes more of a present thing that we're doing for the future. We also want to start doing trainings where we train individuals here at the Luminarium, and then they can take those trainings back to their school. So starting with like a teacher ambassador program. So that's really where we're happy to have people like Abby on our team. So we can kind of partner with her and ask her, what does she think would be beneficial from a teacher aspect to be able to give that to teachers so that they can build it into their curriculum. And also seeing it if we can work with OPS in different districts like Miller, to see if some of the content that we are doing will suffice with their actual curriculum that they have to do throughout their learning throughout their levels of curriculum that they have to have approved by their board and everything for their schools that they work with. So hopefully that's something that we have down in the future. Also continuing doing pop-ups. And so that's pretty much our past, our present, and our future. And so now we were kind of tasked the idea to try to think of something that we could do virtually with the group. Most of our exhibits are very hands-on and very trying to figure out how you can do them here in the space. But we do have an exhibit here at the Luminarium, and I'll kind of give you a layout of our building. So we have 4 exhibits. One of them is called Catch Waves. So that's the first exhibit that you walk in, and that focuses on heat, light, motion, and sound. Then we have an area called Dig Deeper that really focuses on how we create things in the natural world, and then how things are kind of created by man-made. So how we create buildings and how they interfere with rivers and nature and things like that. On our top level, we have 2 exhibits. One of them is called Find Yourself. That was all about like social emotional learning, biochemistry, and things of such. And then we have Make It Count. That's all about financial literacy. And so the good thing about all those different exhibits is they're really geared for ages 4 and up. So everybody of all different ages can really interact with those spaces and kind of understand, the philosophy behind them. And so did someone have a question about that? Comment? And so then in the galleries, Find Yourself. One of the things that they have in there, and I'm going to put this in a chat because we're going to do a quick activity. And so in the activity, I'll kind of explain a little bit about it. The question is, because people think, but actually, and I'll give you an example. Give me a second. I'm going to put this in the chat. So I just posted it in the chat. And so basically, I'll kind of give you an example, and I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to kind of do the activity. So like I said, this is our exhibit called Find Yourself. And so the first question is because so you have to think of a prompt. And then the second thing is people think. And then the last thing is but actually. So for example, I could say, because I'm tall, people think that I play basketball, but actually I really like to play music. And so that's kind of the way the activity goes. And so if you guys could take a couple of minutes to do this activity, you can go as deep as you want to. You can go high surface, however you want to do it. And then if we could have about 2 or 3 people that could share, that would be great. And then we can kind of talk about that and then wrap it up with questions. Okay, so I'm back now. If there's anyone who would like to share, that'd be great. If we can get 2 to 3 people to do it, that would kind of help with the activity, and then we can kind of go into some questions. So it looks like Jane, and sorry if I'm saying that wrong. She put in the chat, since I live in Nebraska, people think I live on a farm, but actually I live in a city. That is definitely a real thing. I know when I go out of town, people will hear I'm from Nebraska and like, do you farm or anything like that? And I tell them, no, I actually live in a city, so no, I'm not doing any farming. And so that's a great one because that is probably registered with a lot of us who, if you ever traveled and you say you're from Nebraska, that's usually what they assume.
So I'm gonna share one with a fellow person that's in her rectangle. Because I am a female, people think that I'm not good at math, but actually I served 30 years as the department math lead at the Department of Education. So welcome to the profession as a future math teacher. And you just made my day that we've got another one in the profession. So
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I probably know all your professors at UNO, most likely.
So once we end, Abby, you're gonna have to get with Deb so you guys can talk about that. That's great. And I thank you for Deb for bringing that up along with Jane as well, because a part of this activity is really being able to connect people together. And so just that quickly, you could see how a quick 2-minute activity can bridge a connection that wouldn't have been bridged without doing that activity. And so when you come to the museum, there is a spot where people can actually post this on the wall. And so as people are writing these prompts down, people can see, hey, this is someone who kind of connected with something that registered with me as well. And so that kind of goes back into that deep philosophy of a place for everyone and really bringing people together to kind of see past different barriers and kind of see how we can all be, one. And so thank you for that, because that really registered with the intentionality behind why we do that activity. And so if we have one more, that'd be great. And then we can kind of end it with questions. And Raven and Abby, if you guys have one, you guys can do it as well. And
Yeah, I can go first and then Abby can go. I said, because I have natural hair, people think that it's unprofessional, but actually there's a lot of ways to style natural hair.
Mine was pretty similar to the first one. So since I'm from a small town in Nebraska, people think I lived on a farm, but actually I was raised in town and I've never farmed.
yeah, so thank you guys. And kind of going back to Find Yourself, that exhibit, another good thing about that exhibit is I've seen people, like I said, go like really high level and then go really deep into it. And so it's also an area to be vulnerable. We have people who come in there who share things about themselves that normally they wouldn't. And so that's what really makes that area very unique. It's a no judgment zone, and people are able to really, just express how they feel. And sometimes writing things down on paper is another way to kind of cope with maybe some hidden things that you normally wouldn't share out in public. And then posting that on the wall, you also give courage to other people to share about different things that they normally wouldn't share to the public. And so thank you, everyone who kind of participated with that. And that's just kind of a really big piece of who we are as an organization and what we look to do for the future. So that's pretty much everything about our Luminator program. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it, but with the time constraint, that's kind of just a little taste of what the Luminator program is and kind of how the Luminarium has come to play. And so we have about 4 minutes for questions. And so if you guys have any questions, me, Raven, and Abby will be here to answer anything you guys need.
I have one, Braxton. We have some folks on the webinar who work in smaller rural communities. And I'm sure they're thinking, I wonder how we can get our students involved with the program that you are developing, either virtually, or do you have any plans to take teams out to visit other communities who might really benefit from this program?
Yeah, for sure. And so one of our goals for the future here is to be able to bring in people from different rural areas in Nebraska and in Iowa as well, so that they can come in and we could facilitate some trainings on how we train our Luminators, and then take some of those trainings back to their communities. And they would kind of be Luminator ambassadors. And so they would continue to have ongoing training. If they're a little further away, maybe they come down for one training and then we can do ongoing virtual trainings. But the goal would be to at least get them here one time so they could get a feel for the space, but then allow them to kind of go out into their communities and kind of give the same different things that we're giving. And then maybe one day be able to bring a group of people back from the railroad back here for a field trip. So yeah, that's one of our goals that we have for the future, and it's definitely something that we're looking forward to do.
We have many programs that have a number of high school students who come in and work in the program too. Would they be eligible to come in and be a Luminator ambassador, or have you?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think we're still at this time trying to figure out logistically what that thing will look like, but I will definitely put that in our notes because we're very open. You know, we really want to be as accessible as we can, just because there's not a lot of organizations that kind of have the different, you know, things that we have as far as like the demographics that we hire with, the age range that we hire, just being able to cater to so many different age ranges as well. And so we're definitely open to different ideas to kind of see how we can expand our reach from Luminarium.
I'm going to jump in and say thank you so much. I've been to the Luminarium and it's amazing. I had a 5 and a 7-year-old grandson with me, and there's definitely something for everyone. It's a really fascinating place. You could get lost in there for hours. It's so interesting. But I do want to say, if you're coming to Omaha for the Get Connected conference, the Luminarium is literally in the backyard of the CHI Conference Center. There's a path, a sidewalk. You can walk from the CHI Center over there. A lot of people are staying at that Hilton Hotel. This is an easy walk to the Luminarium. So if you're coming in the day ahead and you'd like to check it out, we encourage you to do so.
Yeah, for sure. And reach out to if you would like to reach out to Sarisha, and she'll reach out to me. And we'll try to see what we can do to accommodate that too, and seeing if we could have like something, a little, you know, special group tour for that group if they're coming from the Get Connected. So she would be the one who kind of approved that, and I'll be the one who will execute it. So I think that would be a great idea. So thank you for that.
I have a question, quick. So I don't know if I missed this, but do you guys ever go out to schools to do presentations or to bring it to the school? I'm just coming from a small town here. We have a huge demographic. 58% of our students don't speak English. A lot of English learners and a lot of migrant and homeless students. And I feel like they would be very inspired and would love this opportunity. And so I don't know if I missed that earlier, but if you could touch on that, or a way that we could work on getting them there too.
Yeah, so in the beginning, before we actually opened, we went to a couple of different schools. So we went to Boys and Girls Club. I think we went to 3 different sites, and then we went to Girls Inc. So sorry, they weren't actually schools. They were actually like, but same kind of, you know, ideology. And so basically, for the future, that is one of our goals, to be able to continue to go to schools and do activities and kind of help them, you know, kind of learn more about the Luminarium. We also have a partnership team that we work with that helps pass out memberships to families in different areas. And so we are really trying to make sure that we are expanding to those different areas, and definitely reaching areas of, you know, groups of people who speak different languages or may come from backgrounds where funding for their household is a little shorter. And so really trying to make sure that we reach out to those communities. Also, too, with our Luminator program, now that I think about it, I think we have, out of our 40 Luminators, we probably have about 5 to 6 different languages that are spoke around within our group. And so we are always trying to expand and trying to figure out how to hire Luminators from different areas to make sure that we are able to go back to those communities and give our best foot forward. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, Kim, that's at 12:30. I don't want to go over the time. And so thank you guys for having us. Abby, Raven, thank you for being here today too. And so, yeah, I think that, Kim, if you have anything else for us.
Oh, thank you so much for your time and for sharing the features of your marvelous program. I know that there are folks on the webinar or who might watch the recording down the road might want to connect with you as you think about opportunities for growing your program outside of Omaha. Is it okay if people email you?
Yeah, yep.
If they want to stay in touch?
For sure. Yep. So my email is bcrowder, so BCROWDER at KeywoodLuminarium.org. And I can also put it in the chat as well.
Oh, that'd be great. I was trying to type, but I couldn't type as fast as you were saying. And then we'll post this recording on the Stay Connected site. I'll see if we can just go ahead and add your email address there somehow for folks too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the work you're doing, Braxton, Abby, Raven, for joining us. And we hope that, I know Braxton said you're already registered for the conference. Maybe Abby and Raven, we would be able to meet you in person there also.
I will see if they want to go, and we'll try to make it happen.
Thank you very much. And everybody, remember to register for the conference. We're getting very excited. It's only a couple weeks away.
Great, yeah.
And we'll be ready. And the theme is come play. So we will be ready to play and learn together. Sandra, I believe, put the link to the conference website in the chat. That is where you can go to find the registration site and any other details you're looking for. September 22nd at the CHI Conference Center. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Special thanks to our guests, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you for having us.
Everyone for joining.
Thank you.